Hello, I am Pam, and this is my channel, Made by Pam. And this is a live chat show, so I will be interacting with the audience. And I am sewing up Butterick 5572, and I'm sewing the adult extra large. The extra large is a 46 to 48. So yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I've already gone through and searched most of the edges. I decided on these I'm not going to search the top edge or the bottom edge because once I get them constructed, I'm going to take the serger and serge all the way around the top and the bottom in one complete thing. Alright. So I just figured I'm going to be on here. I'm going to be here sewing anyways. So why not do a video, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and point you down to my machine and we will get started. I am making 3 different pairs. I'm making a short pair like what they show on the pattern. So I'm making the shorts. And then instead of making the extra long, hi William. You're in Las Vegas. Oh my goodness. You just couldn't stay away, huh? So instead of making the long pair, I'm making like mid-calf pairs. So I'm making pair of shorts and then, so I'm making 3 different lengths. But I just want to get this done. And then my next project after I get these ones done is sewing up a pair of overalls. Once I get them cut out and stuff, but this is the next pattern I will be working on next time. And I'll probably sew this one up online too, just because. But this is also being sewn up for a friend. Well, he is my employer type thing because I mow lawns for him. And well, I mow his lawn. And he asks, and I help him out with stuff around the house because he's a 70-year-old man. And he's kind of like my dad, but not my dad. So when you're marking this, make sure you're marking the front, like at least marking what is either the front or the back. But you need to mark at least one part because they're very similar otherwise. But so I have 3 different pairs. I got the little reindeer pair. And I guess this is also a little reindeer. So one's a cartoon, one's, you know, different. And then I'm making a gray pair of shorts. And these, I actually picked fabric up from Walmart. It was like one of the Walmart bundles, 2 for $4. I picked it up yesterday while I was out. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I have a cream collar thread in my machine, and I think I will just keep that collar thread throughout, especially for these the red ones. So I might as well just keep it for the gray also. And so I'm using the same kind of pocket for all of them because I didn't have enough of these fabrics to cut out the pocket pieces. So, but I did have enough of the gray fabric because the gray is one of the shorter ones. One of the shorter pair that I'm making. And so that allowed a little bit extra fabric for that cutting out, because other ones are a little bit longer. And none of them were long enough to cut out long ones. But he said he didn't want ones that went down to his ankles. He wanted ones that were like mid-calf. So got those for that. I'm just kind of setting these out because I didn't organize anything before I really got started, except for I did get organized the pieces, but I didn't organize any of the gray ones because I had serged them all. And then I spent the next like 3 hours watching my granddaughter. And while I was up, and my son wanted chicken nuggets. And so I made chicken nuggets for all my kids. And then I washed all the dishes. So I got quite a bit accomplished, I think. So this is a back piece because I did mark all of them. There was one that I didn't mark. And then luckily I was able to figure out which it was. All right. Yeah, I'm playing with my phone. Well, at least I know that I am live because William's here. All right. Yeah, I had to cut that apart. To organize these pieces a little bit here. Okay. Hi, Marty. I know I'm coming on super late tonight. Trying to figure out which one is the back and which one is the front because I marked it. But my marking's wanting to disappear. Oh, it's right here. Okay, good. But then I can't remember if I actually snipped the... Like, you know, I mess up a lot. Why, thank you, Marty. I'm doing this anyways, sewing, and so I figured why not chat about it, because then that will keep me more on task. Because if I wasn't online, every once in a while I'd be on my phone, playing with my phone and looking at stuff, and well, I'd be watching Deal or No Deal, okay? Because I have the app Tubi, and they have the Deal or No Deal channel, and so I like to watch that. but for the life of me, I can't find, well, I can find my little markings, but I can't find my snip. I don't think I snipped this pair. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this piece back on top here. Line it up with my little circles that I drew on my fabric. But I kind of need the little snip to line up the pocket piece. I know. How ridiculous, huh? There. Good night, Marty. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi. I appreciate it. Okay, I got that one snipped, and then double check. And for some reason, just being me, I don't like fully mark these like I should as I'm cutting them out. But it's okay. Now these pockets are inseam pockets. There we go. So I already wasted 12 minutes finding my pieces and snipping them. All right. So I'm going to take my first two. So these are both back pieces. And I'm going to want to, when I line it up, so here's the front, here's the back of the fabric, which is kind of hard to see, but it is what it is. And then yeah, right side to right side. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up these, they're little notches. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. I know it's super late, but I'm going to be sewing this up anyways, so I might as well just come on and stream. So as you notice on here that this doesn't go all the way to the top, that's because to reduce the bulk. And so when you are sewing up the waistband, because this folds over, it's going to catch that top part of the pocket and hold it in place when it's sewn up. So when I sew this up, I'm going to want to sew on the opposite side because I can't see my little circles on this. And I don't even know if I added little circles. But we're going to line them all up on both the front and the back sections because they are inseam pockets. And we'll see how much. Oh, wow, that's awesome, Kathy. I bought a sewing machine and a case for $5 from a thrift store. And I just had to do a little bit of repairs on it, but it was pretty simple. And that was years and years ago. And I call it my kids' learning machine, although my kids don't use it at all. They could if they wanted. Like if they wanted to learn how to sew more so, I could teach them. But right now, they really don't show any interest. I wish they did. Now, my daughter does have a sewing machine of her own. Well, both of my daughters do. Oh, yeah, a bobbin and a presser foot. Yeah, that's good. Now, the bobbin or the bobbin case? Because was it a top loading or was it a front loading? For the front loading, they have the little bobbin case that you have to put the bobbin in. And bobbins are pretty easy to come by. It's the other things that are a little more pricey. But $5 is pretty good. What kind of sewing machine is it, if you don't mind me asking? I'm always curious about these things. Oh, the bobbin case was there. Oh, good. Like the little bobbin holder. Oh, okay, a brother. All right. I have several brother machines. So the one that I got for $5 from the thrift store was the case. Was a brother machine. And it's not one of those all fancy ones. It doesn't have like the little computerized or anything. But it's a good machine. I actually have it sitting right here in the case. That one I keep available just in case. Well, and I keep all my other machines on my table right back here. Yeah, it might need to be cleaned out, so just take a brush and clean it out. You take a paintbrush or whatever. Like sometimes I use a little paintbrush. Oh, they all are pretty much little paintbrushes. I don't know where I'm not gonna get up and get them. Oh, I know where it's at. It's in the box underneath my computer. Because I keep my laptop on a box off my sewing table because I have the plastic mats for cutting, and the heat from the laptop would melt that, would like overheat that plastic. Yeah, you could also use like little Q-tips too for like the harder to reach and more dense areas. So if you take a little Q-tip to stick in those little areas, that's a good thing too. But yeah. So this says to sew at 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to try to follow the sewing recommendations as to the seam allowance. just because that's 5/8, 3/8. Okay, this right there. Yeah. Oh, and then if I still have it set as my stretch stitch, and I have my stretch needle inside my machine. Yeah, actually, I should have cleaned my machine before I get started on this. I noticed yesterday while I was working, because last night I was sewing up, I was doing some alterations for a friend's mom. I'm just going to take this apart real quick. Now see, I got a bunch of stuff in there. I don't know if you can really see. We can get kind of close up here. Thanks for reminding me. So see, I have these like little, they're almost like Q-tips. I got them from a bin store, like a whole box full of them, like a whole case. That has all those little bags. See, look at all that. But they make good for using for art projects, for little crafting, and for using to clean out my machines, especially when I don't want to look for my little brush. These little Q-tip type things work out really well. Because they're small and short and can reach in there. So I got a lot of dust in there. So thank you for reminding me that I needed to clean my machine. Because when I was sewing last night, I did realize I needed to clean it out. Because when I was sewing and it messed up a little bit, it pulled up a little bit of fluff. And I was like, oh, I need to clean this when I get done. See, look at all that. So I was thinking about it, but I do tend to forget. And the best part about these is they fit in between the little feed dogs. Like, because I got these little grooves in the feed dogs. And it reaches in there really nice. And my first sewing machine I had that I bought, I bought it when I was like 17. I was in high school. And I was working. Hey, look at all that. And I should have just kept out my bag. But I was working and I had a car. And the car broke down. And, well, because I forgot to put oil in it. And, like the engine messed up. And so I was gonna fix my car. And we were working on it and stuff. We got it all taken apart. And then it came down to it at one point when I had saved up enough money. I had saved up enough money that I could either buy a new engine for my car, or I could buy a sewing machine, because I started getting really interested in sewing, because I had some projects I wanted to do for friends and family and, you know, neighbors and stuff. Like my neighbor, she was pregnant, and I was like, well, that would be cool to make her a blanket. Like a little baby blanket. And so I decided that I was going to buy a sewing machine instead. So instead of buying a new engine for my car, I decided my money would be better spent on a sewing machine. And then I rode my bike to work. I either walked, ride my bike, or I rode the bus. And most of the time it was my bicycle. And if I needed to catch the bus, you could put the bicycle on the bus. No big deal. Areas on the side like here. Like this is a Topaz 40 Husqvarna Viking sewing machine. And it's also an embroidery machine. So it just has all those little gears and stuff in it also, because it just has this flat space. Usually when you take off the thing, it's kind of more open. But I'm just making sure I'm getting all like the dust. And then this right here is a little cutter that goes with the machine. Let me see. But yeah. I just making sure I was getting in there nice and good. Making sure I get all that gunk out. I guess it's been a long time since I've really cleaned it. That's pretty sad. I can see a bunch of dust, a bunch of little pieces of junk in there as I'm going. Look at that. Yeah, it's also an embroidery machine. I have just regular machine. But this one has a really good like front and back stitch. And sometimes some of the other machines, if you're sewing on, like doing like a top stitch, but you're sewing on one side before you sew on the other, the underside doesn't always look the best. But this one, I've never had like a whole lot of issues with the underside of the stitch as I'm sewing. You know, Kathy, I bet you're wishing you had some of these little Q-tip things, huh? You want me to send you a Happy Meal box with a package of them in there? Or a Happy Meal bag? I've got a bunch of bags. Alright, let's throw that in the garbage can that's sitting right behind me. Alright. Oh. Now that I got that all cleaned, now we can get to sewing. It's a pretty good machine. I also have a serger that's the Husqvarna Viking serger. It's a S25. And it's pretty good. I use my white Superlock serger more right now than I do. I used my my serger that I got for like $20 more than I do my serger that I spent $1,500 on. Yeah, that's how much they cost. And this machine costs like $2,000. It was quite an investment, I tell you. Alright, now that I'm done cleaning my machine, now this one also has a locking stitch. So it's a fixed stitch that just kind of fixes it in place. Yeah, Q-tips would be okay. I was just thinking I could send you some of these because they're like, they don't have a lot of that fuzz that's going to come off inside the machine with some of those parts. And it wouldn't be a problem. I have a whole bunch of them. You know, I thought about using my other serger, my Husqvarna serger that I have, because that one has a 5-thread stitch, so it has, I lost my scissors. It will serge and do like this regular like safety stitch, so it will sew it together and serge it together. Yeah, this one will cut the thread. So I could have just pushed the button to cut the thread. But I didn't. Maybe this next time I'll show you. Okay, I got that pocket piece sewn down. I only have 3 more to go. And what I'm doing, I'm just lining it up. I think I'm doing this wrong, actually. Yeah, I'm doing this wrong. Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm so bad. So this, I need to sew all the way down. And then when I piece it together is where I stop at the dots. Okay, so I still gotta sew that one a little bit more. Oh my goodness. That is so bad. So bad. See, I don't sew inseam pockets very often. I haven't sewn this pattern in quite a while. Because I know I have made this pattern before, because there was a trace out of the size small in my packet, and I traced out the size extra large this time for my person, but I guess for my boss. Because I only go and mow his lawn once a week on Thursdays. But he asked me if I would make him some new pants. Like some more pajama pants, lounge pants type thing. And then some overalls. Just because he likes, when I go over there to mow his lawn, he likes that I'm wearing overalls, because that's what I wear. And he thought it was pretty awesome. And so he asked if I would sew him up some. But my stitch didn't go over very well on here. It was like skipping stitches, so I need to redo it. And this should not be skipping stitches. Yeah, I can see on here it was skipping a stitch every once in a while. And it shouldn't do that. It has a fairly new needle, because the needle, I only put it in there, well, technically last night, but it was actually early this morning. Well, no, I guess it would be yesterday morning, because now to me, it's 12 a.m. But I put it in. See right here, it even missed a stitch a little bit. I don't know why it was skipping those stitches. This isn't difficult fabric to sew. Oh, it's 11 for you. Okay. But yeah, I kind of stayed up kind of late last night. I guess I stayed up. Well, technically I was up till like 5 a.m. But that was only because my granddaughter didn't want to go to sleep. And I was up sewing until like 3 a.m. Only because I was working on some alterations. And wanted to get it finished. And then this morning, see it's skipping the stitches a little bit. So I'm going to back it up and try that again. But yeah, last night I wanted to get the alterations finished before I went to bed. And then I texted her, well, I guess it was like noon. I texted the lady and let her know that the alterations were done. So yesterday I went over to her house to do the measurements for the alterations and to pick up the clothes that she needed altered. So she tried them on, showed me what needed to be done, and then she asked me how long it would take. She asked me how long it would take, and I said a couple days. Well, I finished it right up and then called her and said it was done. I lost my other one. Where did it go? I don't know. Oh, it was hiding. Go figure. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I'm being a night owl tonight, too. It's crazy. Could it be my thread that's causing my skip stitches? I wouldn't think so. And it wasn't skipping stitches last night. I guess I'll just check it every... Now I know on the other ones I sew up, I probably won't have the issue of skip stitches just because it's not stretchy fabric. The other ones are more like a flannel fleece type fabric. And then my thread just broke. What the heck? It might be my thread. You know what? I'm just going to change the thread. I have other thread here that will kind of match. And it's not a high quality thread, it's just a Walmart thread. This is one that you get from Walmart. But we'll try this because it could just be the thread that is just being stupid. I don't know. It's just a hunch. Because it can't be my needle. My needle's brand new. Alright, good night, Kathy. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a wonderful night. I'm hoping this was just the thread that's being stupid. But I don't like those skip stitches. Like, see, it's like all super long. Yeah, look at that. That's awful. And if it does keep doing it, I'll change my needle. Because maybe I should be using a ballpoint needle instead. It could be. But I have those also. Yeah. This needle is not good. Alright. It's got to be my needle. It could also be the thread, but it's got to be my needle. So, we're going to go ahead and switch it out. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the needle per se. I just think it's just stubborn. But I don't have a ballpoint one sitting here. They have a bunch of universal needles, but I want a ballpoint needle. Because if the fabric is going to continue to be stubborn like that, I really think that it needs a different needle. And I'm using a Singer needle. I don't, well, I might have a ballpoint and my Viking needles. And if this doesn't work, I will look at my other needle section and change to the actual Husqvarna needle. But I think it's got to be that I wasn't using a ballpoint needle, because I do not like how that was looking. So let's try this again, shall we? It did sew a little bit better, but I could kind of feel a little bit of the tug on the fabric as I was pulling it through. Like as the needle was going up and down, it was kind of, it felt like it was just trying to cut through the fabric, like it was having a hard time piercing it or whatever. Like it was trying to push the fabric down into the feed dogs or whatever. All right. But that is now sewn up. And so I am going to switch it back over to the other thread that I was using because I just really like this other thread better. So we will see what the verdict is, because I don't think it was the thread. I think it was the needle. And if this doesn't fix it, then I will go to a universal needle. Now I've just got to look and make sure that I am getting the right pieces together. Like seriously, where did my markings go? There it is. I like marked it clear down. All right. So this is the back side, and this is the back side. Now to piece them together. All right. So you make sure that the crotches are going in the right direction. The pockets are going in the right direction. We will go ahead and just kind of pin this together here. And granted, I don't have to pin it together, but I'm going to. Okay. So with this pattern, it does have like notch markings and stuff. The only notch that is really important on this, I think, is the pocket notch, because I marked the other notches on the pattern, and then when I lined up the pattern, the notches didn't line up. So it's just one of those things like, well, I'm not going to mark all the other notches. I'm just going to mark the pocket notches. But I need the pocket notches to line up the pocket. But the other notches isn't so important. And this is stretchy fabric, so it does have some stretch to it. So if you see me stretching it, it's because it doesn't want to fully line up. So I kind of stretch it to make it line up. And then we're just going to mark it here, because when we sew it, we're going to sew it right down to our little circle notch that I have marked on here. And then we'll sew, and then we'll go back up. So we'll take it from, we'll take it from up here, sew it down to this little circle knot mark, then bring it back up, and then we'll go across here, and then across around the pocket piece, and sew all that, and then come back up to this knot marking here, the little circle marking. And then sew it down, and sew all the way down the pants. So I'm going to go ahead and pin these other sides together. I saw this fabric at Walmart. Their little $5. I don't know why. Like these pockets are so off. I don't know. But I saw the fabric at Walmart. Because my daughter, I had to take her to a doctor's appointment. And she needed to get some stuff from Walmart. So we went in and I looked at the fabrics and saw this. Well, I found a couple of fabrics, but this is pretty much the only fabric I brought in. The other ones I just left out in the garage for now. But I brought this one in because I knew I was going to use this one right away. The thing is, I tend to get fabric. I bring it home I think about using it. It gets put in a pile and then it's forgotten about. Because I kind of lack motivation sometimes. And it's not that I don't want to sew something. I do. It's that sometimes, I don't know. It is what it is, basically. Let's just say that. But I also do a little bit of crocheting too at times. So I was watching a YouTuber and well, it's kind of like a suggestion from YouTube. And it was like a little axolotl that she made. Like she did the pattern, kind of created it type thing. And she did like a step-by-step. She didn't show any like the stitch mark, where the stitch markers go or anything. But she pretty much showed step-by-step what needed to be done with this axolotl for the crocheting. It's like a little amigurumi toy thing. But she had some excellent information, like instructions and demonstration on how to do a magic circle for like the amigurumi. And because before I've tried the magic circle several times. So my niece, she's a really good crocheter and she makes some amazing amigurumi. And I wanted her to teach me a couple years ago, like back in 2022, I think. When we moved my daughter to Wisconsin, and then while me and my sister were out there, we went and visited my other sister and her daughters because they lived in Chicago, and well, she was actually in Indiana at the time, but we stayed with her for a night before we continued, so we visited and stuff. And so we stayed with them, and I wanted her daughter to kind of teach me how to do the magic circle. And we tried, and I just could not get my fingers or the yarn or anything to work the way they were showing. And I was like, oh, it's okay. And so I didn't learn that day. But she did, you know, the other day when I was watching YouTube and I saw this other one. It was pretty cool. And so I watched, and the good thing about YouTube is that you can slow down the speed of your video. So you can have it go in slow motion. So I was able to slow this video down, like super, super duper down. a lot better. And you can't even see because I didn't even have you up here to look at it. Jeez. What a horrible place I am. But yeah, this is a lot better stitching with that new needle. Who knew changing it to a ballpoint needle would make all the difference? Like I don't, that doesn't really say to stitch along the top. So I'm not going to stitch along the top. Later, you'll do a couple stitches along the top. But for now, I'm just going to leave it open. So after I get done with this pair, I will have to change to a different needle for the other pair, just because this is a ballpoint needle and it probably wouldn't be good to use it on the woven fabric. I don't know. Sure it would be. I have no idea. Seriously. But yeah, changing it to the ballpoint needle makes a world of difference in the sewing with this stretchy fabric. So if you're trying to sew something and you're getting skip stitches, you just might have the wrong type of needle in your machine for that certain type of fabric. There may not be anything wrong with your needle. There just might be something wrong with the type of needle. Because I had no problems with the thread breaking and no issues with skip stitches in any of this. So that made all the difference. All the difference. But hey, using the cream color thread, you can actually see my stitching. It's not going to blend into the fabric where you can't see what I'm stitching and how I'm stitching. So, in a way, this is a good thing, right? Yeah. So I may not have the best stitching here, but we'll look at it and see. I think it'll be okay. And there's the inseam pocket. You know, so I'm not exactly following the instructions like it says to. Like on here, it says I should have sewn the front and backs together at inner leg, then sewed the curve in the crotch seam, and then sewn the pockets on, and then sewed the sides down. But I didn't do that. It's okay. I don't always follow instructions. But we got the front and the back sewn together. So what we're going to do now on this one, I'm going to take this so we'll go ahead and sew this inseam down. And after we get the inseams sewn together, we will sew the crotch seam. Snipping some of my loose threads. Okay. Want that one sewn up. See this one, the stitching on the some of the things don't like match up, so I need to make sure I sew up to this dot up over here. I think some of the markings on the pattern are just on my fabric must be off a little bit. I'm not sure. Or it's just the fabric I'm using that makes it totally off. I have no idea. Alright. Now that we got that pocket taken care of and all that, we will sew this other piece here. So when I went to work on Thursday, he asked me if I had the pants done yet. Because he asked me like last week. Because he'd asked me the week before. And then the last week I got measurements. Then when I went this week, he asked me. And I told him I was still working on it. Well, I had pretty much found the patterns I wanted to use and stuff, but I hadn't even gotten started on it. But I was still working on it. I was getting the other stuff ready. I just hadn't actually physically started sewing any of it. And I don't think I'd actually picked out the fabric yet either that I was going to use. Because the fabric I'm using right now, I literally just got it yesterday at the store. The other fabrics I'm going to use for the other ones, I've had them for a while. But I saw this gray and just knew that it had to be a pair of like short pants. And I think he'll be pretty happy with any type of fabric I make stuff out of. I don't think he'll be too picky, because he doesn't go out much. He's pretty much stays in. Right. I'm going to pull over my serger really quick, just because I want to sew around the bottom of the leg piece before I sew them together. Then I will still have to sew move that up here. I will still have to sew the crotch piece together, and then sew around the top, like serge around the top. But I just kind of want to do this bottom part first. And so I already have I had already sewn around like one of the total legs. I'm thinking of replacing my light in this machine. That's if it is the same type of light as like the sewing machines, but I have an LED light bulb that I got for sewing machines. And I'm thinking if it will work with this serger, I will swap out the light, and maybe it would make the view of this a little bit nicer. So I'm supposed to have like 2 lights. Well, I guess like 3 lights on my sewing machine. Because I have the 2 right above the throat plate. But then I'm supposed to have the one that goes in the arm. And that one doesn't work. And it's supposed to. I think when they serviced my machine, they disconnected the light or something and forgot to plug it back in. I don't know. So maybe when I go, if I have to take it back in to be serviced again, if it like totally glitches on me, again, I will have to get that light looked at, because the light should be working. Kind of ridiculous that it's not. But you know, it is what it is. margin is done for the moment. I will have to use it again in a little bit. So I wish my other light under here worked. Because it's supposed to have a light that lightens up this whole area. Because there's a light, the section like right up here. And it doesn't work. So I just have the two lights right here. But it should have one right there. Right above that. I'm thinking. But I want to just like stitch this up. As I'm sitting here. Because if I do the leg hem now, I won't have to do it later. And it'll probably be beneficial not to have that extra bulk. But I will move my needle position. So you'll see the stitching on the other side, but it's okay. I could have swapped my thread to like a gray, but nah. Just took that out. The extra fabric could actually feed to the bottom. Be less fighting with it. So it's not the best stitching. My lines are a little bit all over the place here. And you can definitely see the thread. But it's okay. Because who I'm sewing this for, he's not going to mind at all. I think he'll just be grateful that I made him some. Granted, he is paying me for it, so. keeping it this color because I want you guys to be able to see the stitching, even if it is like not very straight on some of it, because it is like knit fabric. Alright, so that stitching is all done. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these together. How we do that is we're going to turn one right side out. Okay. Then the other one is inside out. Then you just kind of sandwich those together. And being that these are shorts, they're a lot easier. We're just going to basically put those together like that with open seams. Go ahead and pin this. And I'll move the needle back to its position. Now this is a crotch seam, so I am going to use like my heavier duty stitching. So it's like a double stitch. So it goes forward, it kind of backs up and then goes back. So it's kind of almost like a triple stitch, this triple straight stitch. It's just a super reinforced stitch. And being that it is a crotch seam, it's a good idea to have that extra strength there. Okay. So when I'm sewing, you will see it go forward. So it'll just kind of go up, down, back, back. It's kind of back and forth. Like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I don't know. It's all good. It gets the job done. All right. Put my machine back. Okay, so I have that stitch all done. Nice, good, strong, sturdy stitch. Now, I'm going to go ahead and push this back again real quick. Pull the serger back over. I could just stand up and walk over to it, but I'll just continue to sit and just pull it over to me. Trim off some excess thread that I see. Now we're just going to go through this, and I'm going to serge along the whole top edge of this. And this is what the waistband will be attaching to. I was kind of contemplating for a minute. Let me think. I'm just going to take this back out for a minute so I didn't fully stitch around it. There's another way to do the elastic for like pants and stuff, and I was contemplating doing it with this pair. I just got to get out the right elastic. I've got this one. This one would work for this project. Alright. I think that's the one that we're going to use. Like the other ones, I'll probably use this elastic here for the other ones. But for this one, I'm going to use this one. I'm actually going to like serge the elastic around the edge and then fold it over and sew it. So he has a waist of 45. But you know, you always have to have that little bit of give. And this is extra stretchy. So like 2 inches of elastic will stretch to like 4. So it's got 100% stretch basically. So I'm thinking if we maybe 40 inches of elastic. Yeah, 40 inches of elastic should be enough. And then you have that 5 inches of that it needs to stretch. I think that would be enough. And I could be wrong. But I'm going to go ahead and go with 40 inches of elastic for a 45-inch waist. Granted, I will have that, I do need to have the little sewing edge here. So it's actually like, ends up being like 39 inches. But it does like have quite a bit of stretch. But I do need to sew that up on my other machine first. And I love that the machine, my biking, I don't have to use a foot pedal. And I can just kind of put it over, sew it up really quick. Even though you guys didn't even see what I was sewing. But hope you'll forgive me on that. All right. All right. So the other day, I sewed up, I fixed a piece of elastic in a pair of pajama pants for my daughter. And I was working on it. And I'd sewn up the elastic because I had to take out the elastic, sew it, and then reinsert it. And so I was going, when I'd sewn up the ends, I had like accidentally twisted the elastic, and so I had to unstitch the elastic and take out the twist and then finish sewing it up. But it was in a pair of pajama pants that has the elastic sewn into the band. So what we're going to do is we're going to quarter this elastic. If you understand what I mean here. Let me get out my marking pen. So we're going to mark it at the halfway point. Because I have front seam, back seam, and side seams. And so the back, the front seam, and then we'll fold this over here. We'll match up the front and back. And then we can mark our side seams. And then it will be evenly distributed among the pants. So it will look good. So one of the pairs of pants that I altered also had the sewn in elastic. So it's sewn to the thing, flipped over and stitched down. Like it's serged to the top edge of the fabric and flipped over and sewn down. And but she needed the waistband taken, like she needed the elastic taken in a little bit. So basically I took the back of the pants and I undid it so far and then took the elastic and cut about 2 inches off of the elastic and sewn the edges of the elastic back together, and then I just stretched the elastic across the back fabric more and sewn it in that way. Yeah, this is the back. Okay. Be the back seam. And hopefully this works out okay. The front seam. And the side seams. And when I serge it on, I'll try not to cut any of the elastic. I'm just trying to sew along so it catches the elastic and the fabric. I don't really want to like serge off any of the fabric either. But you know, sometimes that might happen, but I don't really want it to. So we'll see how well we can get this done. And this serger doesn't always want to cooperate with me. So hopefully it'll cooperate this time. Lift up the presser foot and insert the fabric so that we can get it started off. Okay. Move the pin. You don't want to sew over pins. That would be bad. I guess I will end up taking off a little bit of the elastic, but it'll be okay. I'm going to kind of like pull this and stretch it as I go. Like my other serger has an elastic foot. I've never used it before, but I have one for it. I think so far it's going okay. So far, so good. I think it's going to be a success. What do you think? Makes me wonder if I have enough to do all 3 of them this way with this elastic. But I quite like that. Alright, move that back over. Move this one back up. Put my foot pedal back down. I do need to get my label. And basically I have a label so that you can tell what's front from the back. label here. There, little label there. Issues with this elastic though is with the way it lines up on this. Okay, the elastic's kind of thin. When you fold it over, it doesn't even hit that pocket piece. Not unless you double folded it, but I don't want to do that. We'll make it work. I'll pin those down. Maybe we'll just have an extra wide waistband. Barely cover that. Yeah, I think it'll work. And then if I have a little bit left on the top, I can stitch along. Yeah. Okay. I guess with that type of stitching for this pair, I would have needed a little bit wider elastic. But it'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. Let's stitch that down. Kind of go through and get this all folded over. I know I'd already had this pocket pinned down, but then it just didn't look quite right. So all of the pants that I'm going to be making him, I'm going to put my little label in it. There. And it'll be kind of like a lot of like stretching it and stuff as I go, but it will be okay. So I'm just going to start out at the back seam. And I'll be stretching it as I sew. We're getting closer to these pocket pieces. Hi, Angie. Well, thanks for stopping by. Have a good night, Angie. Get some good sleep. I am working on pants, and I would be up right now anyways, because it's easier to do this in the middle of the night when my kids are sleeping than when they're awake, because there's less interruptions. And then I will go to bed after I'm done. Good night, Angie. Thanks for saying hi. I'm not pulling this through, but I'm like holding it and letting the machine do the work, but I'm making sure I'm keeping a good steady stretch on it. I'm letting the machine do the work. I'm just assisting. All right. I'm hoping this didn't stretch it out too far. Let's see. Line that up. Because I want it to not fall off of him when he wears it. So on one point to the other is like 20, that's 40. And stretch it. Stretching it makes it like over 50 inches. But with both of them, it's like 40 or whatever. So I'm hoping there is enough tightness on this that it's not just going to fall off of him. But we'll see. Maybe on the other one I will do the other elastic. But for this one, I just wanted to try that. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I can always go back to the drawing board with it. But this pair is officially done. Alright. So one pair complete. I have 2 more to go. And this cream color thread is a little bit more forgiving with this other fabric than it is with the gray. Okay. All right. Found my little markings. Now this one I'm not going to pin as much. I will put it back to my regular utility stitch. I'll just make sure I pin the middle. How's that? And we're not working with stretch anymore. We're working with the, I guess we'll call it a woven medium. But it's not a super lightweight, but it's like a medium weight. The pockets are a knit fabric, but the fabric for the pants itself are a woven. All right. Just line up a notch. So I think these other pairs are going to go a lot faster. just a little less fiddly because it's not a knit fabric on these other ones. We'll see what happens. I'll put those aside. I guess one way that it's going to go faster is also that I'm not pinning constantly. I guess because I don't feel the need to pin as much when it's woven fabric as to where it's with knit fabric. It feels like it requires a little bit more. I don't know. Come on. Okay. Those pieces. And then since we're doing this, go ahead and add these pieces here too. But did I mark those notches? Well, I'll do this other pair another time because I don't think I have those notches marked. I forgot to cut those. That's a front piece. This is a back piece. Well, those go together. It's a front piece. And that's a back piece. Okay. With the pattern, I like mark things and matched them, but the pattern must be off just a little bit because not everything wants to line up with how the pattern has it. Like the front and back, they don't quite line up like they should. I think the pattern has our markings just a bit off. I think that's a problem I ran into last time too. When I was making my daughter's pair. All right. We're sewing the inseam right now. Okay. I'm going to sew the side seam here. nice big pocket. It's fabulous. All right, put that piece aside now. Go ahead and get this piece prepped. If you didn't see me back stitching, I did my fix stitch, which is like a locking stitch. So I didn't have to do the back stitching with that. These are like really off. I think the pattern has some issues. Because even the dots don't match up like they could. So I think there's an issue with the pattern itself. I might need to make some adjustments on it. Okay. So on the other pair, I will kind of fix my markings so that everything lines up a little bit better. Come on. I clicked off my back stitch and it stayed on. Sometimes it does that and it irritates me. Like I want it to back stitch, but then it won't. Then I want it to not, and then it does. It messes things up a little bit. Hi, Joy. I know, it's like early. It's 2 a.m. here. It's just kind of like you and me. William stopped in for a minute. Kathy Whitney stopped in for a minute. Angie stopped in just to ask why I was streaming at this hour. Yeah, that's kind of what it is right now. As my kids are asleep, daughter and granddaughter are asleep, and I watched my granddaughter for a couple hours earlier, and you know, when I'm watching her, I can't really sew. So I did get stuff done. But my daughter had asked me how much she would get paid if she did the dishes. If she wanted to earn some money. I told her $3. I figured that was fair because, you know, there wasn't a whole lot. Tonight there was even more because she adds quite a bit to it. Most of the dishes were from her. But never got to it. And I couldn't just let them sit there any longer, so I did them. But I got the dishes done earlier. And, well, my kids are pretty good about letting me sleep in, too. Now I'll push this back and pull the serger back over. Because with the serger, I'm going to serge along the bottom edge and stitch it. And then I will sew the crotch seam and then pull the serger back over to serge around that. How many items have I sewn this week? So I did some alterations. So I think actually at the beginning of this week, I had like a fix. So it wasn't an alteration, but it was like a fix because there was a hole in like a travel bag, like a duffel bag, travel bag, suitcase thing. And she needed that fix, and she said she could just do it herself, but she'd just rather have me do it, which is cool. I'm cool with that. So I sewed that. But a lot of that was hand sewing because I tried my machine and it just wasn't doing a good job. So I converted to just hand sewing it. And then last night I did some alterations. So I had 4 items of clothing that I altered. She needed the hem on the bottom of the pants cut off and hemmed and brought up just a little bit. And then she had a t-shirt that just was a little bit long, and she needed that brought up about 2 inches. Last week, I did sew up my son's pants. I did hem a pair of pants. I did this earlier, or end of last week, probably earlier this week. There's a pair of school pants that I had made a couple years back. And they're still good pants. They're just kind of worn and had holes in the knees type thing. And so I cut off that section and hemmed it up. And I have that ready. I just need to take it upstairs and put it back in my son's drawer. But they're school pants, basically, because he does like to wear shorts sometimes, which they're allowed. And so I have those for him. And then I did those alterations. I had 3, and then on one of the pairs of pants, she needed the waist brought in a little bit. So it's probably about 2 inches that I cut the elastic and pulled it in a little bit. And that wasn't too bad. But I did the 4 items last night. Granted, I didn't go live, I just did it. But I got those done, and then I went upstairs to go to bed, but my granddaughter was super grumpy. It was like 3 a.m. She was super grumpy, didn't want to go to sleep. And my daughter was getting kind of upset at her. So I took her. And she stayed up till like 5 a.m. And so, you know, I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. I got some, though. It was all good. Well, so she was up till 5, but I was able to get her to sleep. And she slept a couple hours, maybe until like 7. Well, she woke up in between that and was thirsty. And I keep a bottle with me when she sleeps with me. So if she gets thirsty, I can just give her a little bit of water. And we went back to sleep. And maybe about 8 o'clock this morning, she woke up again, but her bottle needed to be refilled. So we went in the kitchen to refill it, and my daughter had woke up and took her daughter and went back to bed. So I went back to bed because I'd only slept like maybe 2 hours. I didn't go anywhere today. I didn't even start up the van. Pretty much stayed home all day. So you went thrifting today, and I bought a laundry hamper. Saw 3 machines and lots of sewing notions. I resisted them. Just looked. Oh, good job. Yesterday I bought a spool of thread. So there's this bin store, which I had avoided it so long. And then I went a couple weeks ago. And it's like, they have bins and they throw all their stuff in bins. And each day is a different price. And they restock every week. So like every Saturday is a new stock day. And so like Wednesdays are like $3.99 days per item. Thursdays are $1.99 per item. Fridays are 99 cents per item, or fill a bag for like $13, which isn't bad because you can fit quite a bit in those bags. Well, so I've been kind of going to that. So they had some well, not fabric, but they had some clothing, like some oversized clothing, like 4X. And nobody was going to buy it. And pretty much the whole store was empty. Like, the people that were going to buy were done. So I gathered up, because there was like maybe 1 or 2 people, but they weren't interested in any of the clothes. So I gathered up what was of the clothing that was left in the bins, and I put them in my bag. And then there was like a spool of thread, and there was some sewing machine lights, some LED sewing machine lights. So I'm thinking I want to see if the light will fit in my serger light. I'm going to test that out later, because I think it would be really cool if I could replace the light in my serger that I use right now with an LED light. I think that would be beneficial. I just wish the light on my machine that would go over this part worked. I think they disconnected it when they serviced my machine. I don't know if it ever worked. I don't remember. But it should, because I have the little light thing there. It just doesn't turn on. So it's kind of irritating. Yeah, I probably have more thread that I could ever use too. But if I see thread and it's will go in a bag, it's just a little spool, I'm gonna grab it. And it's white thread, and I can always use white thread, but I'm always running out. Now this has like the 2 lights, so it has one here and one here, Then it also has one in the arm that's supposed to cover this, but it doesn't. And it irritates me to no end that it doesn't work. When I am in a pretty lighted space, because I have like lights all over my ceiling that I put in years ago, because I needed this light. I needed this room bright. And so it is pretty bright in here. And I do have like a little rechargeable LED light type thing, little like desk lamp thing that I could bring in here. It would probably help with the lighting for like this if I brought it in. So I'm making these pants, these lounge pajama pant type things. Basically he wears them all the time. So it's just like his everyday pants. And he doesn't go out really anywhere. He pretty much stays in. But he needed some new pairs. And so he asked me if I would make him some, which I don't mind at all. And he's paying me, of course. He already paid me $50 to make him some. And he's the guy that I mow the lawn for. So when I went there Thursday, he asked me if I had them done yet, because I measured them the week before. And I told him not quite yet. I was still working on it. Well, I hadn't actually started them yet. I had found the patterns. I was still kind of deciding what fabrics. But I hadn't actually started it yet, so but I had cleaned off my table in anticipating of getting started. Yeah, I am. I try to be. Well, because I have to mow my own yard. And so I do my own yard work. So I go over, I was hired to mow this guy's yard. Because I was over there fixing my dad's truck. And we got my dad's truck fixed. And then we was talking to the guy that lives there. Because my brother lives with this guy. His name's Dell. And my dad used to live in the house. But Dell grew up in the house. But my dad moved out. Michael stayed there. And Dell moved in. And oh yeah, his AC compressor went out. So he called me because I was over mowing my sister's yard one day. And my dad calls me and asks me if I was busy. And I was like, well, I'm just mowing Samantha's yard. That's my sister. And he's like, oh, well, do you think that you can stop that for a while and help me fix my truck because it won't start. He's like, I think it's the starter. I'm like, but we just replaced the starter. We've already replaced the starter. It shouldn't need to be replaced again. And so I get over there and we're looking at it. And I had the lawnmowers in the back of the car because I was driving the car at the time. Because my van was still in the shop getting fixed. And so I go over and I'm like, Dad, that's not your starter. I'm like, it sounds like something is seized up. And so, like, I hook up the jumper cables just to give it some extra gumption. Well, it gave it a lot of extra, and it started up, and then the belt, like, melded and shredded and, broke. But then, we could definitely... Hello, Beth. So, we went and got, we figured out what was wrong with the truck, that the, little pulley thing, like the little, turny thing was seized up on the truck, and it was the AC compressor. The pulley was seized. And so we went and got one, and we got a new belt, and we got back, and my dad took me to lunch, of course, while we were out. But we got back and got everything unloaded, and then I had to go pick up my kids from school. So I went and picked up my kids from school, and picked up my husband from work, and dropped him off at home. And then I went back and we finished installing the AC compressor and the belt. And once we got it all back installed, the truck started right up. Not a problem. And it's still working pretty good. So that's good. But I was like, and we've already replaced his alternator on the truck. And we've done his brakes a couple of times. And we replaced the calipers. But yeah. And then a couple weeks ago, my sister's daughter's boyfriend, so the baby daddy, his car broke down. And so they called me. My sister was trying to help, but it just wasn't quite working. And she's like, I'm trying to jumpstart it, like to charge the battery, but it's just not, I don't think I'm doing this right. Can you come help? So I go over with my van, because at this time she was using my car, because my husband's gone. And so I let my sister use the car because her van's broken. So we jump start the car and we let it charge, the battery charge a little bit. And then his car starts up. And, we had to jump start it like another time to finish getting it back to their house, to his house. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's your alternator. I'm like, I really don't want to have to do the alternator because of where it was located. And just a tight fit of it all. But a week and a half passed. Okay, Joy. So a week and a half passed with them not getting the car fixed. Because I talked to my sister and she said, no, he doesn't have it fixed yet. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, I think I can do it. I'm like, I don't know how long it will take me, but I think I can do it. Because I watched a couple YouTube videos just to see. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, I think I can do it. So, literally, the day that my sister dropped off her daughter to the hospital to have the baby, we was able to go and get his car and bring it to my house. So, and I'd already picked up the alternator. No, I picked it up the next morning because they had to order it. So, I ordered the alternator. We went and picked up the car, got it to my house. And then the next morning was a Thursday. So I went and I went to work. And then after that, I went and picked up the alternator. Then I also think that morning, my daughter had a doctor's appointment. So, didn't get to the car until later in the afternoon. But after got all the running around done, we came home. And I was able to get the alternator changed. My sister helped me get the belt off because she was dropping off her son and probably some laundry. And so she helped me get the belt off. And then I worked on it. But she left. And I worked on it. And it took a couple hours, of course, because what doesn't? Well, I worked on it and got it done later that day. And it started up and it worked. Well, where did I learn all this stuff? So, growing up, most reliable. So, but I did learn a lot of it from my dad. But one day, my mom's on the car, the brakes needed to be. No, not really from YouTube, but things that I don't know, I do look up on YouTube. And if it's not on YouTube, I figure it out. But so one day my mom, the brakes needed to be changed on the car. And so she was out there trying to do it. And so I offered to help and I helped her. And that was pretty simple. You know, it was hard, but looking back on it now, you know, it was a good experience. But my dad did a lot of this stuff. And that's why I help him with his car. And then I also, in high school, I took an automotive repair class. Now, I was going to take a small engine repair, which I probably should have stayed in small engine repair, because it would have been nice to know how to fix lawnmowers and stuff, because I have no idea to fix a small engine, like a lawnmower or a snow blower or anything. I could figure it out if I needed to, but why? So I learned some of it at school, in high school, because I was a senior. Also in high school, I took cabinet making, but that was at the HEC, like a little applied technical college thing. But cabinet making didn't last very long because they decided they didn't want me in that class. It wasn't very nice of them. But that stitch is supposed to stay open. But I always like doing things with my hands. You know, be it fixing something or doing something. All right. Now I need to turn in this hem, and I have to make sure that I get the top of this pocket in with that hem. And then I do need to add one of my labels. To my little label here. Okay. But the thing is, if I can do it myself and save money, I would rather do that. Is the way I look at it. And Beth, I do pop into your lives every once in a while. But I'm busy with stuff, so I don't always say hello. But I do watch sometimes. Get little snippets here and there. All right, Joy. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll go to bed. Because I still have one other pair I need to do before I start on the overalls. But I'm not going to do that pair tonight. Because I need to make some adjustments on it. Because, no, not this. Not that elastic. I need this elastic. I got to make some adjustments on it because the pattern isn't quite lining up as it should. So with that other pair, I'm going to make some adjustments. So this other one I measured out to like 40 inches because it's for a 45-inch waist. Measure out to about 40 inches. And the other pair that I just got done making, I used different elastic. But I decided with these other ones, I want to just do it this other way. Problem with this elastic though is when you sew through it, sometimes you get like the little elastic pieces coming through the elastic. And I know this isn't really the way you're supposed to sew this elastic, but it's all good. All right. Though I don't know why I sewed it together. I still need to feed it through. Unless I just... Well, I guess I'll just do it this way. Hi, Brenda. Yeah, I'm just sewing while my kids are sleeping. And I figured I'd be sewing, so I might as well be live because I was going to do this anyways. And I don't come live very often, not as often as I should, because I'm a slacker. So yeah. And I'm just sewing up some pants. They're kind of like pajama pants, lounge pants things. I was commissioned to make them, but he doesn't care what type of fabric I use. But I figured I'd make them 3 different lengths of shorts. So I made them. I got this one done already. Got this pair done. And this one, I just took the elastic and stitched it onto the fabric itself, like serged it on. So like stretched it and serged it and then stitched it down. But I used the cream color thread just so people could see it, I guess. And I'm still using the cream color thread. But it matches the other fabrics I'm using. I guess it was just out of laziness. I don't know. But he's not going to mind that I used a cream color thread on a gray pair of pants. So I picked up the gray fabric. It's like a gray knit. I picked it up from Walmart yesterday. Because my daughter needed to go to Walmart. And when I go into Walmart, I always have to look at the fabrics. Sometimes I leave without getting any. But yesterday they did have a couple pieces that I wanted. And I saw this piece, this gray piece, and decided that that would be the perfect one for a pair of shorts for my friend. And so I got that. And then these other fabric, like this fabric, I already had. It was in my stash. Like doing it this way with the elastic already attached and then having to like kind of feed it through this makes it a little more difficult. I don't usually do it this way. I've done it a couple times. But I made the mistake of stitching the fabric together before adding it in there. Okay, Beth. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful night. Get some good sleep. Now, last night, so I stayed up until I stayed up sewing. So I was doing some alterations last night. And I stayed up sewing until like 3 a.m. 2:33 or whatever. And so I go to bed after I'm done altering the items that I was working on. And my granddaughter's crying because she's grumpy. And my daughter is just having a hard time, difficult time with her. And it's getting kind of grumpy because she's just not settling down and she just is really angry. So I go in and grab her. And my daughter's like, oh, thank you. She just won't stop crying. So we go to my room and she's not ready to go to sleep yet. She just isn't quite tired because she had like a late nap. And so, and I think she had a tummy ache because she was really grumpy. I think she actually had a tummy ache, is what was keeping her awake. Because she just looked like she was uncomfortable. But so we stayed up and we watched Dill or No Dill. Because I like to watch that on Tubi. The Dill or No Dill channel. It just plays Dill or No Dill like all the time, 24/7 type thing. And so I'll watch that. And so we stayed up watching that. And finally set around like 4:30. I'm like, okay, well, I gave her a bottle of milk. She doesn't like cow's milk at all. And she is breastfed, but her mommy doesn't produce enough. And she is teething also. But we give her almond milk. And she really likes that. And that's going to help her get the nutrients that she needs. That she's not getting because she's not drinking cow's milk. Which is just fine. But so I get her a bottle and she drinks that. And then I get her a bottle of water. But then she was finally starting to get tired. I'd hold her and she was still really grumpy. But she finally was getting tired enough and settling down enough to go to sleep. So she finally went to sleep around 5 a.m. Slept till about 7. Woke up, needed a drink because she's a little thirsty. So I gave her a drink of water out of the bottle. She went back to sleep and slept until about 8 o'clock. 8:30. Oh, my bobbin thread's getting low. I hope I'm going to play bobbin roulette and see how far I can get before I have to restock the bobbin. We'll see. But yeah, after my granddaughter finally settled down, was able to get some sleep. But I got up probably around like 8:30. Went in because we needed to refill her bottle because she's thirsty. And her mommy took her. So her mommy took her and I went back to bed. Then I got up about 11 o'clock and around noon I texted the person that I did the alterations for and let her know that the alterations were done. So she said she would swing by my house and pick them up because she was out and about anyways. And so she swung by my house and picked up her clothes. But I like being able to, like, make things for other people and being able to do alterations for other people. I like it. Like making these clothes for the person I'm making them for. That's awesome. Not only that, but I'm still sewing because I love sewing. But I'm making something for somebody else that isn't staying here. Still have a little bit of thread left. I might make it. Might just make it. It'll be awesome. Oh, I think we're out. Oh, yeah, we're out of thread. Dang it. I almost had it. Like just this little section. But from here to here. Well, geez. It was close. I guess the bobbin roulette got me this time. Sometimes I'm able to just barely finish a project. Now, if I wasn't doing it like heavy duty stitch and just a regular stitch, it would have probably finished. But I'm doing that extra strength stitch. So earlier I got started and we was talking about machines and cleaning and stuff. Mentioned about the machine. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to clean my machine. So for the first 10 minutes I spent like remarking a spot because I forgot to before I started. But then I was going to sew together and then I remembered I needed to clean my machine. So then I cleaned my machine. And it might help if I actually de-threaded it. Jeez. About the bobbin thread, but just not the top. But so I cleaned out the bobbin area of my machine. And it was pretty dirty. So it was a good thing I cleaned it. All right. I think this pair is finished. Well, this pair is done. I know it's kind of Christmassy, but I think he'll be okay with that. So I got that pair done. So I have 2 completed. Kind of contemplate if I want to do the other pair. I do need to make alterations on it. So I think I am done for the night. I have been streaming for like 3.5 hours already. So let me show you what I got done. There is this pair. I know it'd be nice if the lines matched up, but they don't. And I wasn't going to fuss with it. So it's got the little inseam pockets. And I just used the gray fabric, the gray knit fabric for the pockets. I got that. And they're different lengths. And then there's this pair. It's a cream color thread for that. So I think I did pretty good because I used a cream color for this one. And I was able to get all of this one sewn and almost all of this one sewn with just that one bobbin of thread. So yeah. And this has the inseam pockets also. And I need to make a little bit of adjustments to the pattern because some of it's not matching up. But I have 2 out of the 3 complete that I have cut out. And then I will do the other one later. Where did I put that other pattern? I put it somewhere. And then I do plan on... So this is a pattern that I worked on for those 2 pairs of pants. And I have a 3rd one to work on. And then I have a couple of these. And he just wants shorts. He doesn't want the long ones. He wants shorts or he wants like mid-calf, so like culottes. So just like in a mid-calf. He doesn't want them super long. But I can do them super long too. Either way. I think I will do a long pair. And then maybe a mid-calf. And then a knee-length one. But he wants some overalls. And this is just one size. This is a large. But looking at the measurements for these, like measurements at hip line for a large is like a 50.5. And his waist is like a 45. So that will give plenty of ease. Like still make it comfortable to wear. But yeah. Wait, this is the back drawing of that one that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to make adjustments on that. And then maybe I will come back live and finish sewing up this other pair. And then finish that off. And then I will start on this. And then I'll probably come on and sew this one online too. We'll see what happens. We'll see how my days go. We never know. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay creative. And until next time, bye now.